Okay, I think I would go back to more some of the Warhammer stuff and figured I would make a video on this game, which I believe is kind of a slept on ARPG-esque game, which is Warhammer Inquisitor. And, well, Warhammer Inquisitor Martyr is what it's called. And it's actually not too bad of a game. I did forget to mention, even though you can choose your class, you actually can't customize your class. So you can't change their hair, you can't change their eyes, you can't change anything about their face or their body type or anything like that. All you can do is just pick a class and that's it. And they're also gender locked, so you can't have a female crusader or you can't have a male sniper. What you see is what you get. The only type of appearance changes you're able to do in the game is each class will have their own set of gears to choose from, which is unique to them. And equipping that gear or their armor will change the way they look. So take that as you will. Okay, so here we are. We're actually in the hub, which is where you'll pick your missions and go at the store, go to the store, buy new items and gear, go to your storage and save gear that you like. And here, this is kind of a daily reward thing. I don't remember if dailies were always a thing in this game. It's been a while since I played it. I only recently got back into it because of the Battle Sister DLC was on sale. And what you see here is something that Diablo 4 never did at the beginning, which was to give you loads and loads of inventory space to start collecting and digging into whatever kind of builds you want. You can always mess around with your builds as well. You can have two-handed weapons. You can also do the standard bolter and sidearm, although what I have here is what is that? I think this is a new pistol as well. It's an Inferno pistol, so it kind of acts like the Volkite pistol from Space Marine 2. I don't believe there are Volkite weapons in this game, but you do have plenty of items to choose from, and some of the weapons, if I remember right, varies depending on your class and what you can use per class. There are class-specific items. I haven't delved too far into the Battle Sister yet to see if she has specific class items. I do have the plasma gun here. I'm not sure if this is we can equip it. Okay, so it's going to be a two-handed weapon. And here you can have two different sets of weapons. So here's set 1, which would be the Inferno pistol and the chainsword. Set 2, I'll give this plasma gun a try. So here I can quickly switch between which two weapons I want to take into missions with. Then obviously you have your gear, and you have implants as well as specific class items. So the Holy Sensor, this is a class item specific to the Battle Sister. Then you have a neural implant, you have a purity seal, main implant, and your inoculator. It's been some time since I played, so I can't remember if everything is class specific besides the armor. And I think weapons are also flames class specific. Heat damage, I'll use that instead, so I haven't used that. And then here I can equip signums as well. And you actually pick up loot pretty fast in this game, so I don't think you really have to go into the store to buy anything here, because you'll quickly find a lot of good items within the missions themselves. This is a point and click, so you don't use your WASD keys at all. Instead, you're using just your mouse to point your character into the direction you want to move. So it feels more like a MOBA game, like the top-down MOBAs like Dota and Heroes of the Storm. So I'm gonna go into a mission, and the missions are they're procedurally generated, so they'll always change. But you'll quickly find out that they're actually kind of bare in a sense. But you do have different missions to choose from, and obviously they're also level locked as well. So right now my primary is I gotta saving Caius Thorn. He's a Space Marine that you meet in the opening mission, and that opening mission is actually the same for all your classes. It's more of a tutorial type of thing. So I have to travel here to the Aethon system, or Aethon system, whatever they call it. And here it gives you some brief overviews of what it's like, and gives you some story, what type of world it is, and stuff like that within the system. So this here, the Atheon system has 4 different worlds. So it has a Hive world, Atheon Prime, Carnus Maxima, which is a Void Station, Iona 5, which is an Agri world, and Tartarus 4, which is a Death world. So some nice little lore bits to kind of help you get immersed into a Warhammer, or at least into the universe itself. And when you get here, you can actually visit each of these 4 systems. So every system that's mentioned within, or every planet or space station that's mentioned within the system, you can go and visit it. So here we got to go search for the Magos Biologist at 3 possible locations. So within the Atheon system, I have to pick several of these missions, and 3 of them are specific points of interest where we're supposed to find our main objective. So it really all depends. Really, sometimes it's going to be the 3 possible, and sometimes it's going to have you check every single system. Just depends, really. So I'm going to go start with Iona or Lona 5. So here it's got Tyranids, and it's a frozen wasteland, so it is a campaign mission. So we're going to go here, and here this is your level basically. I don't know if this ties into the into your character level or not, but again, gives you some neat little insights into the world, and here's some kind of lore bits as well. So we're going to go here. And the game is fun and all. It's just it's not to expect too much from this game, considering when it comes to the map design, it is a bit bare. But the missions themselves don't last very long. So we're gonna do the campaign mission. The other mission is to purge Tyranids, and you're gonna see with the Battle Sister, she has some interesting mechanics that I haven't quite gotten a hang of yet, since I've only just started her.
Inquisitor, according to the coordinates you found, this area is one of the potential locations where your Magos Biologus could be, and it seems you've also got company.
Okay, now that we're actually into the mission itself, so here again, it's a point and click, but you're gonna use, here are your abilities, so they're all gonna be using your number pad, and then your alternate fire is actually gonna be with your right click. So you can either attack, and I'll show you when we get to an enemy. And here's your map. You can also expand it too by pressing M, which is actually more of an interface type of thing, which is what I really like, and not most games do as often as they should when it comes to introducing a map. Rather than opening up a sub-screen and covering your whole entire screen to show you the map, here it's actually more of a interface type of thing, which is actually pretty cool. So here we got some enemies, so you can come up to them, and then you're gonna use your 1, so press 1 to attack. So again, it's pretty bare, but it's not too bad. And they'll always drop loot. You can also find treasure chests throughout the missions as well. That'll give you some neat items. I'll use alternate fire. So this pistol kind of builds up heat, and it's more of a damage over time kind of thing.
Heat.
And you're always going to find armor. So every single group of enemies is always going to drop something. So now we'll try the second ability, Infernal Pirouette. I think you got to hold this. No, it's just it's not even a toggle. You just click it. Does feel kind of my character does feel kind of overpowered, strangely enough, considering she's level. I think she's like level 9, I believe. So the enemies do die quickly, but because I do have a ton of, what are they called again? Caligari credits. So just the universe credits, just the money used to spend gear. This is actually carried over between all your other characters as well. So you don't have to worry about starting a new character and having nothing on your character as far as money goes. It does carry over, and you can quickly tell there's not much going on in the world in between shooting galleries or groups.
Inquisitor, we have received a distress call from a rogue trader in orbit. His transport crew on the ground was attacked by hostiles while moving important supply rates to the local administratum cloisters. They humbly ask you to secure the cargo before the cultists return for the goods.
Enemies won't ever respawn in these missions. Once you kill a group of enemies, that's it. And that kind of further helps to make the world more and more empty. So there's no point in leaving one area and coming back and hoping for another spawn of enemies.
I've found the supplies.
We'll remove the cargo from the area, but it will take some time. The sensors located several cultist troops approaching your location. Get ready to defend the supplies.
So here's more of this. This is a side objective that you can do if you want. And this is now, it turns into a defense mission. So all you gotta do is just hold off against waves of enemies. I'm going to try the other weapon, my flamer. See what this is like. Okay, so when she shoots, she moves backwards. I think the flamer is actually a vanilla weapon, if I remember right. I can't remember. Holding one, and now I'm shoot while moving forward. Another plasma gun. What does the 2 do? Oh, okay, so it's a little cone AoE. What's their third ability? So it's like a little grenade launcher type of thing. I think very rarely you'll ever die in a mission. It's just that easy. Or that's just how easy this game is. So when it comes to depth and gameplay mechanics and all that, you don't really have to, you shouldn't expect too much. And if I remember right, the game itself actually isn't expensive. I think it's actually worth whatever the asking price is. I've had this game for years. It's just, again, I picked it up because the Battle Sister DLC was free. And the game only got recently updated like a week or two ago with the release of the Hierophant DLC, or maybe it might have been longer, I'm not sure. But it was nice to see that the game got updated to begin with. So it's not a whole lot, but it's a nice way to kill some time. It does have some replayability in the fact that you get to use other classes, but classes don't have specific stories, so it's all the same thing, really. It just comes down to whether or not you kind of just want to...
The cargo has been destroyed during the combat. Call it collateral damage.
It's unfortunate, but what can we do? I'll talk to the rogue trader captain. Please proceed with your mission, Inquisitor.
There are several different types of armor to choose from, so it kind of helps with picking out a playstyle that you want, and the armor also obviously will have a visual change as well. So if I... Oh wait, this is that armor is for level 9. I equip this armor, and now my character has a slightly different appearance. Equip this armor, and here's another change in her appearance. And each one has, again, different values. So damage reduction, this is for max faith. So the faith is tied to the Battle Sister itself. Again, since it is a new character, I'm not too familiar with how her faith works. So now we'll go on to the final objective. And you can see here on the map. So there's a couple of items I've missed. So maybe we'll go to this chair, or this chest. Again, this is why I like this, the way they have this map done in this game. I can open it up while simultaneously moving throughout the mission, so I don't like that, you know, you don't have to pause while looking at your map. You can move in real time with the map up. See what this chest has. And again, as you can see, there's no enemies in between points of interest and such. There's a chest. Okay, so not much, just some money and one gear piece, it looks like. No. I don't know why, even though this game is a bit bare, it's still pretty fun. It's more mindless fun and pretty easy. Although I don't believe I've ever beaten the game, because I do have a high level I do have a high-level Inquisitor. I can't...
Captain, Metrodor Thelema is definitely not here.
That's quite unfortunate, Inquisitor.
At least I've eliminated the local threat, so this whole journey hasn't been a complete waste of my time.
We have 2 other sets of coordinates. Maybe you'll find her on the next world.
And there you go, that's it for this mission. So not a whole lot. Now, here, when it comes to ending a mission, you do have the option to quit the mission, or you can keep exploring the map for anything else that you want. We'll just go ahead and quit the mission. And it'll take us back to the hub. And then after each mission, this is where you'll get your stuff. So I leveled up. Now I have unlocked new item type. So a bolt gun, hand flamer and rod, new resolve point and skill point. So with these, you'll go to your character tab, and here's where you'll find your passives, and you'll be able to use your skill points. This here allows you to fine-tune your build. And these 3 here, so single DPS, range combat, melee combat, these are always going to be the same, as well as the critical hits. This down here, Acts of Faith, this is actually specific to the Battle Sister. And I'm going to assume that the Hierophant will also have a specific passive as well that you can start investing points into. I'll have to explore that whenever I have more time to do so. Then you have banners, you have movement and defense, health, your warfare. And again, this all depends on how you want to build your class. But as you can see, I'm kind of overpowered a bit, so I don't have to worry too much about investing until I get to the higher difficulty missions. Once you get up to a certain point in the difficulty, it does get to be a bit harder. Because it is just you. You don't have support characters like you do in other types of games like these. Like I think the best example would be Diablo 3, where you have a support character who can always keep you healed and such. But whenever you get a passive, you always look at what you're going to want to invest in, and then look later on to that tier, what's coming up next, and if that's something you want to do. Yeah, I do like the melee combat, so I do have more points invested into melee. But range combat is good for, again, for anything projectile based. So this one is just 3% range damage. This may not be much, but this first one was already 3%, so this would be 6% total. So it does quickly stack up. You can quickly get around to making a really strong character. And again, when it comes to the mission's ending and you've actually beaten that mission, you don't have to quit right away. You can explore. Maybe there's more enemies that you missed along the way, or maybe there's some more chests you want to get. You know, try and kind of maximize the amount of XP you can get. And here you also have different types of ailments that you can bestow on enemies. So here you'll get more range damage if you have enemies that have been slowed, shocked, or stunned. So again, you can really fine-tune your stuff. And then here's single target DPS. Really works against bosses in particular, if that's your thing. So here I have to actually start opening up, and depending on where you start will also dictate how the rest of that build is going to go up until you get to a certain point where the rest of these can all kind of converse onto each other. It just depends on what you want to start off with. So I'll put a skill point into... You know, I think I'll do a skill point into Axis Faith, because I need to start understanding the Battle Sisters stuff. There are also heroic deeds that will give you some pretty cool stuff. If I remember right, I think I have some of these invested into another class. I don't remember too much of this. And I think when it comes to those bigger maps, like the one that we were just in, which is actually it's more of an open map, so the entire you can start from the very top and work your way from the right. You know, kind of like do like a little zigzag type of thing, or just do left and right just to cover the entirety of the map. Then there's other maps where you're on space stations or ships or such, where it's a very linear path. You know, it'll go up and then left and then up and then take a right. Some of those are very straightforward, whereas the ones that we were just on, open world, I think that's where you would want to invest more into movement, just to get yourself a little bit faster. Will also increase your cooldowns as well. So it is not too bad of a game. We'll do one more mission. Okay, so here is the other mission that's on this particular planet, which is purging Tyranids. And here it shows you the layout of the map, so this is more linear-ish. So not a whole lot to explore. And most likely you won't even go from bottom to top. Sometimes the mission will end kind of in the midpoint, and it's up to you whether or not you want to even explore the rest of the map. Okay, so now we're on to this. All we gotta do is just kill Tyranids. So these are very straightforward missions. These are basically just exterminate missions. And unlike Space Marine 2, you don't really have to strategize in how you want to take out Tyranids. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Overheat.
And then, much like Space Marine 2, and I should have said this from the beginning, this game is pretty bare bones, just like Space Marine 2, and that's kind of a good thing. You don't want to be overwhelmed with all sorts of different... Yeah, you don't want to be overloaded with all sorts of mechanics and sub-mechanics and gameplay elements and this and that. That'll kind of get you confused. Switch weapons. Lay down AoE. There's a Neurothrope. Well, this is a Malanthrope. Oh, I forgot about that Xenotype. Picked up a bolt pistol and chainsword. See if there's another weapon I can use. Yeah, I'll use the Eviscerator. This is actually a pretty cool weapon to use. It's a two-handed chainsword, basically. It's actually pretty strong, too. So another group of enemies, all Tyranid warriors. So its first ability, you just hold it down and you'll do continuous damage. You're basically just you're just using it like an actual chain weapon. Like a chainsaw, basically. Yeah, if this was Diablo and this was a starting character, I probably would have died several times over from just how careless I am, but that's kind of why I like this game. You don't play it for the difficulty, you play it just because it's kind of mindless fun. The story itself, I kind of forgot about the story.
Swinging our way. One last push and the victory is ours.
Does have something to do with a ship called the Martyr that goes into the warp that apparently is some 5,000 years old or so, and it's important to the Inquisition because it used to be a ship that belonged to the Inquisition, and that's why the game is called Inquisitor Martyr. But I never got around that far into the story of my main character when I first started playing. Open up the map. Okay, so I'm missing those enemies. Now, like, you can already see how quickly I explored the entirety of this map. That's how fast these missions can go. And supposedly there's a chest over here, yep. Nothing worthy. Some more stuff, eye implants. And then, of course, whatever you don't need, you can always just sell it for more credits and hope you find something good in the store that's maybe even legendary. And that's it. And there's really nothing else to do here because the entire map has already been explored. And I think that's about it as far as Inquisitor Martyr goes. The game does have co-op in it. I don't know how many players are supported by the co-op, and I don't believe you're going to have any luck finding anyone. I think this game is pretty dead when it comes to its online services. It is worth picking up though if you just want something new to play for Warhammer based games. It's not a full price game either, so don't worry about paying full like $70 or something for it. This is definitely not a $70 game, I can tell you that. Even if it was, I would never have picked it up, and I'm sure the game would have far less players even when it first came out if it was a $70 game. I bought this game when it was on sale, and I think I bought it for like $10. And honestly, I think for $10 you'd be getting your money's worth and so on and more. And of course, the DLC being added, it just recently updated to add that Hierophant DLC like I talked about. Again, I only came back because of the Battle Sister DLC being on sale, which I think is usually $10, I think. I bought it for $4, so yeah, I got my money's worth. Up to you if you guys ever want to pick up this game and have some fun with it. Alright, bye.